Hi, Robbie. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for your availability. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely beautiful, beautiful. I've got into training mode right now because I'm just about to on tour, and I got a little bit pear-shaped when I was on my holidays due to excessive eating, excessive drinking, and all those wonderful things that you do on holidays. And then you suddenly your inner voice says, "Hey, mate, take it easy. We got tour coming up." So yeah, I'm gearing myself towards the European tour at the moment, starting in Denmark. So I'm doing some cardio and some strength training and eating sensibly, fish and no carbs and all that bullshit.
Yeah, still
Yeah,
recovering from the holidays and preparing for the
yeah, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
yeah, and on the 10th of October you have a new Perpendicular have a new album coming out. It's called Band. What can you reveal to your fans about that album?
Um, well, we decided to do a fourth record, and we decided we'd write it in Portugal, collectively in a room together where we could all collaborate with immediate reactions, not when you do stuff over the internet. But what I can reveal about this record is I think it's one of the more polished and better played album to date. And regarding the concept, yeah, it's a little bit of fun. I mean, it's about the cancel culture and the freedom of speech and all that crap that's going on in the world at the moment. But I mean, it's just a bit of fun. We had a bit of fun with it, and that was the loose concept when we got up to the mountain until we were nearly burned to death. So we decided, okay, we'll write an autobiographical theme as well. We mix the two concepts together. We did that, and it worked pretty all right. There's some heavy stuff in there, and there's some light bluesy stuff. There's all sorts of stuff in there. So yeah, I think hopefully the fans will be happy with this one.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I mean, I'm listening to it. It sounds great as always. So,
Yeah,
congratulations on it.
thank you, man. Ian is playing really, really good in it. Alessandro did a wonderful job on keys, and Murray Gold, my God, what a player! You know, when I heard him doing the ballad thing, uh, for a long time, when you're playing every night on stage, and you don't take it for granted, but you know what your players are going to do. But when he sent me that recording, I got goosebumps for the first time in a long, long time. So um, yeah, and he was the first guitar player that I know. I didn't have to correct in any way because when you're producing, you have to kind of say, well, don't play so much here, cut that bit out, make this shorter, make that longer. You know, I didn't have to do that with Murray. Murray just whatever he gave me was just perfect. He's just got a wonderful, versatile, original ear. So yeah, so that's enjoyable, really enjoyable when you got good players.
Yeah, it's got the touch definitely. And one thing that I found personally is that this album sounds a lot more progressive than your previous albums. Was that? Do you feel the same way? And was that something that you intended to do?
Well, I had an idea. I said to Alessandra, I don't want it to be a typical rock and roll album. Of
Yeah.
course, it ended up being a typical rock and roll. Not typical, but it ended up being a rock and roll album. What I wanted to do was to write instead of writing with guitar and have a vocal piece and say, right, let's build it around that. We went for grooves instead. We went, okay, let's write first with the bass. What does Ian want to play here? And we worked it that way. Up the last thing to go on was the guitars, so that was normally that's the other way around. And the guys didn't get the concept at the start. They said, Jesus, man, and I didn't do any vocals until everything was nearly finished. And the guys were saying, okay, give us a clue what you're going to sing there. And I went, nope. I wouldn't get, because I didn't know how it was going to end up. I had an idea what I'd do, but I didn't know how it would end up. So it was just when we were all recording together, it's just wonderful. Um, because we had, for example, we had this experiment that I went into the room one day in the villa in up in the mountain, and I said, "Look, I looked at Alessandro, the keyboard player, and I said to him, if somebody pointed a gun to your head, and said to you, you've got one chord to play for the rest of your life, what would you play? And hold it. Don't let it go. Hold it. And he did. He was thinking for a few seconds. And then he said, well, I really like this. And down he went. And I said, hold that, hold it. And I turned to the bass player and I says, okay, you've got two notes to play. What would you play? And he did a couple of notes. And he did a couple, just out of natural feeling, he did an extra two notes. And it was good. So I said, oh, okay, I'll leave you. I'll leave you. I'll let you have that. And then I turned to the guitar player and said, you've only got two notes. You know? So it worked. It worked. And then there was so much, how do you say, space in it. And there's so much feeling in it. There was nothing busy going on, but it was still very powerful. So we used it, and it ended up being the music to Blood Red Moon, the intro, what you hear there. That's exactly what we did. So these kind of things are a lot of fun, and you can't really do that if you're recording in separate countries or writing, sorry, not recording in separate countries, because you don't react the way you would when you get a piece of music live, when you're performing, interacting with your colleagues. You react differently. If you get a thing that is sent to you over the internet, you can listen to it 10 times and you might not like what you played the first time. Yeah. But that might be that's the perfect thing, that you've just erased the perfect thing because you reacted that way. And they might listen and say, nah, I'll do this. And then eventually they'll give you something that wouldn't have been captured if you had been all collectively.
That's genuine.
Yeah, yeah. And if that's a band collaboration, I mean, if you have a solo record, no problem. Do what you want. You know, you tell everybody, okay, this is how it's going to go down, and that's it. But when you're in a band thing, band collaboration, that's the best way to work. It really is. And that was enjoyable.
Yeah, and you know, it sounds like you were having a lot of fun as well. So that's also great.
Yeah, it's very, very live. I mean, there's maybe one or two tracks that you couldn't probably play live, but I wanted it to be a live thing, good and live. So, and regarding the sound, we wanted it to be like the old school. We didn't want this to be a perfect digital, crisp, clean thing. I think that ruins music. You know, if you listen to the old records like Led Zeppelin 2 or Cream, Wheels of Fire, or, you know, all those Pink Floyd, everything, you can hear the room where they were recorded nearly, you know. I know that's exaggerating, but you can get an idea. And we wanted that kind of loose, old rock and roll feeling to it, yeah.
I think you achieved it, you know.
Hopefully, thanks. Hopefully. We'll know pretty soon.
Yeah, you know, it's not that long until the album's released. And you were just saying that, you know, the recording in the top of a mountain, there's a whole backstory over there. You know, it was recorded in Portugal. So, you know, there's a whole backstory there. Would you like to go over that as well?
Well, we went to Portugal to write primarily together. We wanted a nice location, and our roadie, Joe, said, look, come to my place. Got a house there. There's a nice villa. Nobody's there. You won't be disturbed. You can play as loud as you want. And that's the thing. We didn't play as loud. What we did was, there was a couple of very big rooms that were just about set up, and we didn't choose these rooms. We chose, I thought it was best to be in a room that's a medium-sized one where we were close together. And we played semi-acoustic and semi-electric. I had a PA set there. I didn't need it to do any vocals. We played really light, but we played hard without the amplification, so we could get the idea across. So when we needed to put down the stuff on the Reeboks, the little recorder we had, we'd turn up the electrics a little bit, so we'd have the idea there. And what was imperative was everybody knew what the hell they were going to do when they got back to the studio, because then it just needed small corrections. But the majority, everything was written in Portugal, near Porto, up in that famous mountain that nearly burnt down. Well, it did, but it's still there, but the vegetation burned down.
That's why there's a flame in the cover of Band.
Yeah. The cover was that is representing the fires of Portugal. Yeah. And if you look at the band, it's kind of a pun. Like if you look at the ED before the last D, it's crossed out, which means band, which is a collective rock and roll band. But if you look at band, as in everything nowadays has been banned. It doesn't matter what it is. So we thought, hey, you know what? It's really cool of your band. Let's get banned, you know. So we used it, and we thought it was nice. So let's see.
Yeah, and how do those two concepts mix? The fire and the culture the cancel culture that we have right now.
Oh, well, that was pretty easy. I mean, as I said, the very first night when we arrived at a safe location, we stayed at the people of the village were really, really kind. They took care of us, gave us beer, roast beef sandwiches. And I mean, this is bloody midnight or something. And we were on the veranda and we were talking about the concept band. And then I said, look, what's after happening to us tonight, we can't ignore it. We have to write a second concept and mix the two of them together. So everybody thought, okay, that's a brilliant idea because we can tell the story, the autobiographical story of what exactly happened to us coming off the bloody mountain and the chain of events that led up to it. And yeah, so it's probably half and half, 60-40, 50-50, the concept of the fires, which represents also escapism in life. You need to get out of a situation that if you're not happy with or you're in danger, get the hell out of there. They can represent that also. And then the other side of it is the joke about the cancel culture. I can't saying it the other way around. Culture cancel. Cancel culture, whatever it is.
Yeah, too many C's.
Yeah.
That's why the album starts with Inferno, related to one thing, and then with the end, right?
Yeah, that's right. When one of the first when we arrived, when we actually started to write, when we settled down and started to write, I said to Alessandro, the keyboard player, can you replicate or emulate the sound of a forest burning? And I was half joking because you never know with today's technology, or he could have said, fuck off, he could have, but he said, oh yeah, hang on a second. And I said, oh, this should be interesting. So he played it and it sounded like a mix of the old vinyl and something crackling, which is the burning. You can hear at the start of this fire. And then I asked him to make a moody piece representing the mood of what's just happened to us and the fire. And more importantly, the people that lost their homes and the fire brigade that lost their lives. So he created this beautiful moody piece at the start of the album. And I think it's the first record that we have released that doesn't start with a mid-tempo or a fast rock and roll song. So we started a bit different this time with a bit of acoustic come in. The idea for the acoustic, I had this idea and the guys were not so thrilled about it. They said, can we take it away? Because if we play it live, it wouldn't work. And I said, well, we probably won't play it live, and I had this idea of the acoustic rather than a typical guitar coming in. So the idea I got was from a Pink Floyd idea from Animals album, where you hear the acoustic guitar coming in first. It's just a ballad. Maybe you know it, called Pig on the Wing, I think. And I had that. I said, put it in for diversification, something different. It'll sound a little bit more original, so, and in the end, when the vocal went on it, they went, okay. And I went, yes, fucking wait the next time. Wait and see. Don't shoot it down, So it worked. It was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of my personal favorites on this album is You Better Behave. How did that song come about?
You Better Behave is a simple thing written about all the different generations of the changes that went through with technology, to no technology at the start, then all the tech era, the phones and stuff, right up to now, saying that we survived all this crap, we're still alive. But there's one thing that doesn't change, and that's the bloody leadership. Ever since I've been a small boy, I remember my parents giving out about the governments, and that doesn't change. It doesn't change. I mean, it's the most legal mafia in the world if you're a world leader. They have their own interests at heart. These wars shouldn't happen. I mean, we've got so much intelligence and technology nowadays. Things like that do not need to happen. And unfortunately, they will, because people that are leading these countries, politicians or whatever you want to call them, are taking care of their own pockets, and they don't really care about the massacres that are going on in the world. And unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to change. So you better behave was a cheeky little thing, a little bit like when you're in school. Oh, here's the teacher. You better behave. You know. So politicians can tell you all the bullshit in the world, and you have to accept it. But you don't. But you'll get banned. So it's a circle, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it surely
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And we are being run by complete fools, and that's it.
Yeah,
There's no.
looks like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I, you know, my opinion is just concentrate. We're only here for a short time. You know, just enjoy your life, enjoy your family, take care of your work and your savings, and enjoy your family, your holidays, and what you can control, that little circle, and just stay there and just enjoy it. Because these people going out in the streets and sitting down in front of cars and causing fucking don't get me going.
And and also crossing that with a little bit of the fires theme. I think this big wildfires happen every year in Portugal, and nothing seems to change or to stop them. So also crossing that a little bit with "You Better Behave" now that you mentioned what it is about, I think also makes
Yeah,
sense in that way.
yeah, yeah. Also, yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, yeah, could do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then the album ends with the end, which is the perfect closing track. It's a very emotional ballad. Is that really the end of? Was that the end of the night of the fire, or maybe the end of the album?
Um, at the end of the band. Um, the end is simply it's a it's a thing that everybody in their life will experience, whether it's a end of a job, a relationship, domestic relationship, a professional relationship. Um, Everybody has to accept endings in their life, and when you do, the healing process goes quicker. But there's some people that can't let go of certain things, whether it be, God forbid, a family member that's or a friend that's passed away or whatever. Everything is an ending in life. We all have these endings. So that's basically the main concept of that piece of music. And the most important thing is all we have is time. That's it. We all that we have right now is time. That's what we live for. The clock is ticking, And as I say, I remember I was landing in Valletta, in Malta. We had a gig there, and I remember these big fluffy big clouds just shuffling by like that. So I said it to myself, and I wrote it down, and I used it. So I put it in this song because I thought it would fit pretty nice. And when we all go up wherever we're going to go when we die, well, the angels will be crying. So uh, so that sums up that piece. And again, what a great guitar solo by Murray. That outro solo was wonderful, really really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you in that sense, you are blessed with a lot of talented musicians in this album. How hard was it to join them all under the Perpendicular name?
Oh, they're incredibly easy. They're professional guys. They're really easy to work with. There's not absolutely any problem. I remember the early days when we didn't have, when we were starting, we didn't know the concept. We didn't know how touring is like, and you have people with different moods. But when you get up to a level where these players have played with the creme de la creme, they played with, they don't. There's no egos. They're just wonderful guys. Ian included. He's, is that okay for you, man? Yeah, is that part right? I remember I said to him there was something wrong with the machine, and his drum recording came back on one of the tracks really fast, and I went, Ian, that's a bit fast, and he's, the fuck are you talking about? And I said, oh, I didn't mean to say fast. I said, go to halftime, don't play a double time. So what are you talking about? And he didn't know anything about this. So it was the machines that were, whatever way it was sent by was it via or whatever file share we were using. it went wrong and it didn't sound good. But anyway, it was all fixed. It was funny, yeah. But the guys, what's important when you're working together, it gets a little bit, how do you say, uncomfortable sometimes if you really stress, hey, look, it has to be like this, and somebody else is saying, no, I think of it. You have to compromise. Yeah. And the thing is that what's important and what's great with these guys, you can have a heavy debate, but there's no hard feelings. We go to the bar then 10 minutes after and we're best buddies still. There's nothing, and we make a joke of it. We would play light of it, but we're all after the one thing, which is a good record. And I like it like that. It's better than anybody or everybody just saying, yeah, that'll do. Sometimes it won't do. You need to push it, and try and squeeze out the best. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how is the feeling of working with such a living legend like Ian Pace?
It's pretty cool. He's a funny guy, and we're great buddies. I mean, we've been buddies now for about 21 years, as long as we're doing it. And obviously at the start, it was very surreal when I was playing with Ian, you think, Jesus, wow. Now it's like, hey, watch it. Now it's different, you get it. He's a colleague and a very good pal, and he's ultra professional. My God, you can learn, a lot of people can learn so much. The basics has been on time every time, even meeting in the foyer before we're going to the gig. He's 2 minutes early. We have this thing in Purpendicular when we're going to the gig. Who can be exactly right there before the second gets? We had this little competition, crazy things like this. But he's always impeccable. He's always on time. And if you ask about anything about the business side of it, he's very helpful. And yeah, he's having a lot of fun. He's having a lot of fun because he knows this is not a tribute anymore. He knows it's open for anything. The Whitesnake stuff, some blues stuff from the Doors. Yeah, I was going to say the Windows, the Doors, and yeah, everything. Paul Rodgers music. We can do basically what we want, But more, we're promoting the Purpendicular album, of course. But But working with Ian is a joy, and we have a lot of fun on the road. He's a very, very funny guy. He's really funny, really funny.
Yeah, and now that you mention it, not that long ago, Purpendicular was the number one the Purple tribute band, and right now this is your fourth album, if I'm not mistaken. How was the transition from that band to the band that you have right now?
Well, a lot. When we started the band, there was a website made by our webmaster, and that was written there, a quote that we didn't like. And so for many years, we were the absolute most booked in the world. That was factual. And, we never copied Purple because, you have to be, you can take elements, you can learn from different pieces, different singers, different guitar players, different drummers, to collect all this data and end up being yourself, being original to an extent. So when we were doing the Purple stuff, it started as a tribute because I remember we had this original thing going, and it's hard to get paid when you're doing stuff that nobody knows, no matter how bloody good it is. So we said, look, the tribute market was booming at the time. So let's do the tribute thing. So what band? So the common denominator was Deep Purple, because you can be so expressive in them songs. There's so many parts in the songs that you can be yourself. You can put your own spin on it. And we started to do that, but we never copied. We never dressed up like them. That was never, I know many bands that do, and that's not my thing. That's more cabaret then. You're more of a show band, that's a little bit. But when you get older, you really have to be yourself. So I found it a little bit, with no disrespect, I found it a little bit embarrassing if you're only copying, at a certain, when you get to 50, you say, for fuck's sake, you gotta be, you can only be yourself. So that's what happened. So 2018, we made an official announcement that, hey, anybody coming to the shows, we got good players, they're not going to play like Richie Blackmore or Tommy Bolin, but you're going to get an interpretation of the songs in our way. and Ian likes that. He was more attracted to that. That's why he tours with us a lot. So the tribute tag is, unfortunately, it's still there. If you get lazy journalists or local promoters that haven't booked us in 10 years, they don't even ask. They just go, oh yeah, the great tribute band in the world, and we go, oh, you know. But hey, we can't stop it. So what can we do? You know. So but now when you look at the lineup, we got Nick Fife on bass from Jamiroquai, Temperance Movement. I mean, he's played with Nile Rodgers, a Chic, and everybody. And then you got on guitar Murray Gold, who's played with Bonamassa, Clapton, Elton John, you know, and and Ian Pace on drums, you know. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shot when you call it a tribute. Anyway. But I would advise anybody that does want to see it. I mean, there's many, many great tributes that would do it better than us, that would copy Purple better than us in Germany. Yeah, defo.
Yeah, and you are now preparing for a tour.
We are.
What are you preparing exactly? And what? Show me a little bit of the tour set list. Whatever you can reveal.
What I can reveal is that it won't be around the Mark II. I had dinner with Ian. Was it a year and a half ago? We had one show somewhere in Stuttgart, and we had a dinner. And he told me he wants to pull away from the Deep Purple stuff and do more Whitesnake and more blues. And I said, absolutely, that's right up my alley. I said, fantastic. And so we started to introduce more Whitesnake stuff, but the early Whitesnake, not the glam rock stuff that came out later, which is pretty good. It's not bad. It's pretty cool, but it's a different kind of a different generation, a different production. So we're doing the old boogie woogie, bubbly Whitesnake stuff when Neil Murray was on bass and Ian, Mickey Moody, and Bernie Morrison, Lord rest his soul. And yeah, we're doing a lot of that. And we're doing a lot of David Coverdale stuff from the Purple era, from Burn, Stormbringer, Come Taste the Band, and of course the Purpendicular stuff. And we'll be doing some blues stuff from Robert Johnson, the Doors, as I mentioned, and all sorts of stuff mixed in there. What's important is that we keep it dynamical. The set has to be, it's hard to make the set. You have to make it dynamical. It has to run properly. You know, there has to be good diversification. And it's all crammed into an hour and a half, which is 90 minutes, which is really hard because you've got so many, the backlog of Deep Purple, the backlog of the Whitesnake
so many
stuff.
great songs, from
Yeah,
all of those.
I know, but it's so many. Somebody came to me and said, "Hey, man, you should be playing. Why don't you play half Perpendicular, half?" And I said, "Well, we could, but the problem is that Ian is so busy that he even forgets his own songs sometimes because we don't rehearse. We just go straight to it. We listen to it and we go straight on the stage. We might fix some things in sound check sometimes, but regarding the Perpendicular stuff, we keep it to a minimum, maybe 2 or 3 songs, because it's demanding on the audience and it's demanding on the songs because they don't know them that well, Off the last record, The Human Mechanic, songs like The Human Mechanic and No One's Getting Out Alive were really well received. So we don't know whether we're going to keep one of those in the set. We don't know. We're just, at the moment, we're nearly, we'll probably decide 10 minutes before the first gig. But that's rock and roll, man. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We don't care. We go for it because we know we had good players. And if we fuck up, we have players to get out of it. They know exactly how to disguise a mistake,
Yeah, but that's also very, very demanding, not only on them, but also on you and on your voice. I mean, how are you adapting to all of that? And by the way, did you try anything new for this album?
No, not really. It's easy. I mean, I grew up playing blues live, joining bands, going straight on stage. I hate the rehearsal room. I haven't rehearsed in 30 years or something. I just go on the stage and I just do. I hate rehearsals because I don't get anything back. I have no feedback. I have nowhere to go. I mean, I can have some fun with the musicians, of course, but it's just a place I don't like to be. And the guys are pretty much the same. So to adapt is really easy. I mean, we know each other. We know the signals. We know when the music, we're going to take the dynamics down. We have eye signals, we have signals in the music. It's like speaking to each other, but without actually talking. You know, you get these wide eyes sometimes. There, you know. And for this record, I didn't try anything. I didn't try anything different. I don't think. I wanted it to be a little bit more diverse, probably, with the ballad kind of singing and the more pushy songs, the more heavy ones. Possibly that, but I didn't. It wasn't a conscious thing. No, so no, not really, not really.
Yeah, Robbie, I think that's it. It was an honor. Would you like to send any message to your Portuguese fans?
Portuguese fans, of course, you've got a beautiful country, and we would really love to play there. We are, that's another thing I have to say before you end the interview. We don't get we get told where to go. We cannot choose. So many
Yeah,
beautiful people write in to us and say, "Why don't you play in our country? Why don't you play here? You don't like us." It's not that. We get told where to go by our promoters. We cannot choose. We might request. I might say, "Okay, I want to play in England," or we want to. If you know, if we don't get an invite, we don't go there, and that's how it is. But the Portuguese, I was in Portugal for the first time to write the album, and apart from the fire, I mean, the people are so friendly. They're beautiful. The food is amazing. The drink, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I really hope that we can play in Portugal. And I hope the fires are not too bad this year, and everybody is safe. And thanks again for the wonderful, wonderful support that you give the band. And Ian would endorse that as well.